Hi everyone, I have a compilation of scientific riddles that I've run into in the past. I was just going over some old conversations I had with another science-minded friend, and he and I came up with some interesting riddles that neither of us have any good answer to, but we thought that it would be an interesting discussion. When I was a kid, one of my favorite television shows was Unsolved Mysteries. It was hosted by Robert Stack. Unfortunately, he passed away soon after the series ended. And nowadays, all of the episodes have been acquired by one of the producers, and they're freely available on YouTube. Some of the mysteries are still unsolved to this day, and it gave me an idea. The person, if it's a murder mystery or if there's an unsolved crime, I would imagine the criminal who got away with it would be very interested at watching himself. And it makes me wonder if we should compile a list of everybody who has viewed that episode and go over it. I am surprised nobody has thought of that. It will probably only work once, obviously, right? Once we flush out everybody who was featured on Robert Stack, the concept will probably not work so well in the future, but there are some pretty good mysteries on there. There was D.B. Cooper was on there. There are a few people who are still fugitives. And then there's a bunch of people who are looking for lost family members. You would imagine that people involved in those stories ought to be interested in viewing those stories. And it made me wish that we would do something about that. If somebody is knowledgeable in this area and has something to contribute there, definitely leave me a comment, because that's been eating at me for the last few years, ever since the episodes have been uploaded. Okay, when I was a kid, I think I was 16 or 17 years old at the time, I used to be envious at people who could eat a lot of food and not gain weight, right? I think a lot of people were envious of that. And it gave me an idea. The idea was if you could acclimate to eating a lot of calories without gaining weight, right? Let's say you were eating 1,000 calories a day and you maintain a very low weight. I think everybody who eats 1,000 calories a day would have a pretty good body weight, right? And then you slowly increased it. Let's say by the first day you increased it by 1 calorie, right? So 0.1% in one day. But you let compound interest do the work, right? You increase it by 0.1% a day, and by the end of 365 days, your calorie intake would have almost doubled, right? And then you do that year after year until you acclimate to eating 10,000 calories a day without gaining weight, right? I always wonder if your body would acclimate if you slowly increase the calorie intake. I mean, if 0.1% a day is too fast, maybe then 0.05% then, right? There's got to be a rate. And you can just let compound interest do the rest of the work, right? I think at one point in my life I tried it. The problem was that it was very hard to be precise, right? One cheat day or one day when you were sick and you ended up eating 300 calories would just throw the whole plan out the window. But if you could, well, I guess you would have to sacrifice 3 years of your life where everything had to be measured so carefully. I never got around to it. It didn't feel like it was worth the investment, but it seemed like it was a plausible idea. The other idea is that maybe you could acclimate your body to eating things that are normally poisonous to you, right? When I was working on my PhD, I had a girlfriend who was spending all my money, and I ended up eating a lot of questionable things. Roadkill. I ate fish out of Lake Ontario, and I got very ill. But it made me wonder if I had slowly acclimated to all that crap, right? If I could get away with it. You know, if you swallow just one particle of COVID-19, you might not get sick, right? And then the next time swallow 2 of them, right? And then 3, and then 4, right? Until somebody could cough on you and you could be justified, right? If you could slowly acclimate to that, right? I wouldn't recommend it, but it would be a nice survival skill to be able to eat unsavory things and get away with it and not go hungry, right? About 5 years, actually more like 7 years ago now, I was watching a YouTube video. See, I would have been in my mid-20s at this point. But this guy on YouTube, he was only 18 years old and he was a millionaire. I think he had a bunch of rare coins. He hit a windfall somehow. I don't know if it was an inheritance, if he made the right investment. I can't remember the details, but he was 18. It was obviously too late for me to be 18 and a millionaire, but I thought to myself, if I could keep my body young so that by the time I'm a millionaire, I'm still physically able to do the things that an 18-year-old is doing, and I'm attracting 18-year-old girls, it would be just as good as him, but probably even better because I would have more wisdom, right? And that was a big inspiration for me to stay healthy. And I had already given up the crap I was eating when I was dating that girl, and it became a big inspiration for me to eat even healthier, right? So just some food for thought in terms of how science works. Leave a comment if you have any adjustments you want to make to some of these concepts. Thanks for watching.